guys, welcome back to Talking RPGs. This is Ollie. Today we're talking about what's better, D12, 2D6 or 3D4 and what the differences between them are. So this has come up a couple of times in various chats and discussions online and that kind of thing. And the main use seems to be for weapon damage. You don't see it that often in many games as a ability check thing. It's more weapon damage, and basically wanted to know if you say had a sword that did 1d12 damage versus a sword that does 3d4 damage, what the differences would be. Now, if you've got a sword that does 1d12 damage, you are as likely to get a 1 as you are any other number, including a 12. So you're as likely to get top end damage as you are bottom end damage, as middle average damage as well. And this is just a sort of standard distribution of numbers. In fact, it's 1 in 12 because you've got 1 in 12 chance of hitting any number on a 12-sided dice. Now, when you bring into the mix a second dice, so if you're doing the 2d6 rather than 1d12, you start looking at it as a binomial number, which basically means you've got one die that is dependent on the other die. So what I mean by that is, if the first die rolls a 3, you're never going to get lower than a 4, but you're also never going to get higher than a 9. So that each die affects the outcome completely individually, because you don't care about what is individually on each of those die. All you care about is the sum total of what's coming out at the end. So this creates a binomial distribution. So what that means is you're more likely to get the numbers in the middle of its range than you are either end of it. So with 2d6, you're not even going to get a 1 because you can't get a 1 with 2 dice. Simple as that. And you've got one chance of getting a 2 because there's only one way of getting it, and that's getting 2 1s. And you've only got one chance of getting a 12, which is 2d6. Whereas if you look at the 7 or 8, there are much more options. So on the first column, you can see the 1d12s, which you've got an equal chance of getting each. There's a 1 in 12 chance for each one. Now, if we look at the 2d6, you can see that you're much more likely to get a 6 or a 7 in the middle. You've got, your chances are there are 36 different combinations of numbers you can get from the 2d6. So you can see already how you're more likely to get those numbers in the middle. You're less likely to get the ones on either end of the range. And then that just gets exaggerated even more into the 3d4. So if you look at the 3d4, there are 64 different combinations of numbers. You still only got one chance to get a 12, and you still only got one chance to get a 3, because you can't get a 2 or a 1. So you're getting rid of those bottom numbers completely, which is great. Which some people argue it in total makes it a little bit better to go for the extra numbers. But I'd also say that on the other end of the scale, you're not a lot less likely to get the 12 on the other end. So how do you balance that in a game, and how do you make that differ from other swords and this and that and the other? What I wanted to do as an idea for my group was there be a blacksmith who's got an apprentice, and I wanted to see if they go for the sword made by the apprentice that did, say, 3d4 damage, and then the one made by the master craftsman, which was the 1d12. Now, I don't know if that's a good comparison. I don't quite know, but I kind of wanted to find different ways of weapons doing damage depending on who made them, and that kind of thing. Obviously your own abilities add to that separately and make you better at using them, whereas the actual quality of the blade I think would have some say in it as well. So I've put all these results from the table into a graph as well, so you can see here quite clearly that there is a range in the middle there which denotes where the sword is more likely to get its damage and what's going to be better. So if you actually look at the shape of the 2d6, you've got this weird little triangle shape for the binomial distribution, and then when you bring into the 3d4, you've got this almost bell curve shape, which is another binomial distribution. So I would argue that the more dice that you use, the more average your weapon will be, the more average your roll will be, and you can extend this even further. You could even start to think about 4d3 and 6d2. So you got 6 two-sided dice, which I suppose would just be coins if you just said heads is 1 and tails is 2, and you'd get this distribution, and it would just keep growing and growing and growing in the middle, but also slightly up to one side because you're starting to get rid of the lower numbers completely. So for the for the 6d2, you couldn't roll a 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, so your actual average isn't around the 6 mark, it will be around the 9 mark, but your odds of getting a 12 are going to be so small. If we just look back at the table again, you can see on the 3d4 you are 12 times more likely to get a 7 or 8 than you are a 12, which that's a huge amount compared to just the 1d12. So which is why I would argue is you're getting a more average blade, although that average is slowly increasing the more dice you add to it. I would argue that the 1d12 was probably made by a better craftsman. Although there is a chance you're going to get the lower numbers, which would be with any weapon, there's also a chance, much better chance, you're going to make maximum damage, maximum input on your enemy. So something to think about there, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you reckon that you think it's the other way around, or how you'd maybe use this in your game, and maybe swapping your d12 roll for a 3d4 or a d8 roll for 2d4 or something like that. If you'd maybe mix things around, knowing that you're a lot more likely to get those middle numbers, and when you do get the big numbers it's even more amazing, and how that could be used in a D&D game to really just change things around a little bit and make it a bit more interesting for your players. I'd love to hear your comments, drop them in the comments below. I'd really love it if you like this video, and hit the subscribe button as well, that would be amazing. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you like and subscribe to the video and the channel, and we'll see you again soon.